All right, let's talk about something that sounds, well, kind of complicated. Governance, risk, and compliance. But don't worry, we're going to make it super simple with just one idea. The GRC Onion.
Let's be real. The moment you hear those words, governance, risk, and compliance, or just GRC, your eyes probably start to glaze over. I get it. It sounds like a mountain of paperwork, endless meetings, and just a bunch of rules you can't possibly keep up with.
But what if we just threw all that jargon out the window for a minute? Let's reframe it. Instead, just picture an onion. That's it. Simple, right? Believe it or not, this one little metaphor is going to be our key to unlocking how a really powerful security strategy is put together.
So what in the world is the GRC Onion? Let's dive in and break it down.
Okay, here's the big idea. The GRC Onion is all about seeing your security strategy as a bunch of layers, all wrapped around each other. Every single layer supports and strengthens the ones next to it. So, it's not about having different departments off in their own little silos. It's about creating one solid, resilient structure where everything works together to make the whole thing way stronger.
So what are these layers exactly? Come on, let's peel this onion back and see what we've got inside.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting, because it all builds from the inside out. Right at the very center, at the core, you've got the mission. Build trust, cut down your risk, and make sure you're compliant. Easy enough. Wrapping around that right, you've got risk management. This is where you're actively looking for threats, like a new phishing scam, and figuring out what you're going to do about it. The next layer out is compliance. This is all about making sure your actions line up with specific rules and standards. And then the outer layer, the one holding it all together, that's governance. It basically says who's in charge, who's accountable, and how decisions get made. See how they all have to work together?
So why does all of this matter so much right now? Well, because threats are changing every single day, and you can bet the regulators are not going to wait for you to catch up. So here's the thing, a solid GRC program isn't just about defense. It's actually a business tool. It's what lets you build real trust with your customers and helps you move forward with confidence.
All right, that all sounds good in theory, right? But let's get practical. Who is actually supposed to be doing all this? And when's the right time to even start thinking about a GRC program?
The short answer? Pretty much everyone. Seriously, if your company uses digital systems or stores any kind of data, GRC is not optional. Now, leaders like your CISO are going to drive the strategy, for sure, but it is a total team sport. Your IT and DevSecOps teams, they're the ones in the trenches, actually building the secure systems. Your legal and audit folks, they're verifying everything's on the up and up. And of course, your executive leadership sets the tone for the whole company.
And the best time to start? Honestly, day one. But hey, it's never too late. The key is that your GRC program has to grow with you. When you're a startup, you need to be fast and flexible, so you'll use lightweight tools like Vanta or Drata. As you start to scale up, things get more complex, more vendors, more data, so you need to level up your game with platforms like LogicGate. And then, once you hit the enterprise level, well, GRC becomes the operating system for the entire business, and you're looking at deeply integrated platforms like ServiceNow.
Now for the fun part, putting it all into practice. We know the who and the when, but where does GRC actually live inside a company? And how do you even begin to implement it?
GRC isn't something that lives in some dusty compliance office. It has to be everywhere. It needs to be built into your cloud infrastructure, making sure your AWS and Azure setups are locked down. It's got to be embedded in your code pipelines, catching problems before they ever go live. It's in your network security, your laptops, and maybe most importantly, it extends to all the third-party vendors you work with. It's everywhere.
So how do you get started? First, figure out your biggest risks. What keeps you up at night? Then, map your security controls to all the frameworks you need to follow. This is so important for avoiding busy work. After that, make sure everyone in the business feels a sense of ownership over risk. And please, automate everything you can. Manual GRC just doesn't work anymore. Finally, track your progress with real data, and remember, this is a cycle. You never really finish GRC. Now, that second point, mapping controls, is such a game changer. Let's see what that actually looks like.
And here it is. This chart perfectly illustrates the map once, comply many idea. Just look at it. A single control, like having strong access control or using encryption, checks the box for multiple big frameworks: SOC 2, ISO 27001, and NIST. So you do the work one time, but you prove compliance in 3 different places. This is how you build a GRC program that's efficient and can actually scale. It's brilliant. So as we start to wrap this up, what's the one core truth at the center of this GRC onion? What's the one thing you should really walk away with?
I absolutely love this final metaphor. The best way to think about GRC is like your company's immune system. It's not some rigid wall that's just going to shatter when it gets hit. No, it's a living, breathing system that's always learning, always adapting to new threats. It's flexible enough to handle surprises, and it's built to scale right alongside your business.
And that really brings us to our final thought, a question for you to take back with you. Your business isn't simple or flat, right? It's made up of layers, of people, processes, technology. So does your security actually reflect that reality? Does it have the layers it needs to be truly strong?